Back in April, this 4chan leak had popped up, and as time goes on, more evidence seems to be stacking up for it. Let's talk about it.
Whoa!
What's up guys, Canadian Guy here, and back with a brand new video. You know me, I don't talk a lot about 4chan leaks. I could probably count on one hand how many times I've referred to a 4chan leak in my videos in the past. 4chan is a cesspool, and I hate getting into it. But nonetheless, I still check it out once in a while because sometimes leaks really do seep through there. Details for future Sonic games have leaked there in the past, along with Pokemon and some Nintendo Direct details to name a few. But the problem with 4chan, because there sometimes is a legit leak, you have everybody trying to make a fake leak, and you have to sort through thousands to try and find one that's true. By the way, to make this crystal clear, this video is theory and speculation. This shouldn't have to be said, but just making sure it's known from the get-go. So, back on April 18th, 2021, a fresh post popped up in the cesspools of 4chan. But here's the weird part. Aspects of it are seemingly coming true, and there's evidence to back some of these claims up. Let's read the leak first and foremost. As I think you all know, this year is the 25th anniversary of the Crash Bandicoot franchise. What I'm about to list represents what Activision plans to do during 2021, according to my sources. A few things may be subject to change. Announcement of a new cartoon coming out in 2022. The studio is internal to Activision, the Activision Blizzard Studios, and will be released as a Crunchyroll exclusive. Development started in March 2021, and a lot of work is being done to have a trailer ready by the end of the year. The show is in CGI. Crash Wrath of Cortex, Twinsanity of the Titans, Mind Over Mutant will be released on the PlayStation Store, Xbox Game Store, and Nintendo eShop. To celebrate the anniversary, avatars and themes will be made available once the mentioned games are purchased. Announcement and release of a free-to-play multiplayer that can be downloaded individually or through Crash Bandicoot 4. The development started by Toys for Bob and then was passed to Beanox, which is currently developing Spyro 4. Spyro 4 will be released later this year and will have skins and a Crash Bandicoot themed level to celebrate the anniversary. Of course, they start off the post with saying a few things may be subject to change, which is true for leaks, because 9 times out of 10, if a leak is legit, the info is old. It doesn't mean it's wrong, just old, and things change at the drop of a hat in the gaming industry, like Crash Bandicoot 4's release date. But of course, they might be saying a few things may be subject to change because they're full of baloney. Take it as you like, but they make 4 points overall as to what Crash is going to be doing for his 25th anniversary. But let's tackle the question. Is Crash doing anything more for his 25th anniversary? And the answer is yes. Crash has been making posts with the hashtag 25before25, where he wants to do 25 amazing things before his anniversary in September. On top of that, back when Toys for Bob announced that they were working on Call of Duty and the fanbase collectively lost their minds, Jump Button had sent a message to an Activision representative and got a response that was similar to everybody else's, except he was told to stay tuned for more Crash 25th anniversary content coming throughout the year. So Activision is interested in making more content for Crash for his 25th anniversary. So let's get back to the 4chan post. The first point is announcement of a new cartoon coming out in 2022. Now, if you don't know, there was a leak of a canceled Crash cartoon show. A short clip had been leaked by a studio member in protest to the cancellation, hoping that the fans' angry reactions would spur it back into production. Activision had never commented on the situation, however, but 1 month later, after the 4chan post was made, Scott White, the voice actor of Crash and Crash Bandicoot 4, posted this image of him working on a project with Lex Lang. That Instagram post took a life of its own as more and more news organizations made reports about the image. I made a video talking all about this. You can check it out in the card in the top right corner. But then Lex Lang and Scott started to go on this train of teases of constantly about to reveal what it is that they're working on and then something interrupting them. But video after video after video, Scott and Lex have been teasing and joking about what the project is. However, in one of Scott's videos, we actually caught a small clue. In this video, he is in a recording studio walking out the door after talking with Lex Lang, and he walks past the poster for the Netflix exclusive Over the Moon. Studios put up posters of all the productions that they were credited for on display as a display piece and a sense of pride. So we looked at the studios that were credited for Over the Moon that were involved with dialogue in any way, shape, or form. The grand total was about 7 studios, with the majority of the work being done by Technicolor Sound Paramount. But out of those 7 studios that worked on Over the Moon, not one has ever worked with Activision before on a game. But again, they have worked with the likes of Netflix. On top of that, Lex has almost been exclusively Cortex since 2016, with a few side roles, and the only project Scott and Lex have worked on together across all sources of media is Crash Bandicoot 4. Plus, I doubt that they would be hyping the fan base and stoking the fires for something that wasn't related to Crash Bandicoot at all. Another detail I wanted to mention as well is that this post mentions that the show would be sent to Crunchyroll. It does sound odd, but Crunchyroll does have a small selection of shows that are non-anime. On top of that, Activision and Sony have had some form of a distribution agreement for years, where Activision gives PlayStation just a little extra love with their games. Well, it just so happens that Sony owns Crunchyroll, so it does make sense that Activision would be giving it to them at the end of the day if there is a distribution agreement between them. Now, let's get to the second point. Crash Wrath of Cortex, Twinsanity, Crash the Titans, and Mind Over Mutant will be released digitally. This is a big one, because if this was true, I think Activision would really be striking the heart of all Crash fans. Imagine playing Crash Twinsanity on the Switch. Let that sink in for a second. Now, for clarification, these would not be remasters like the Insane Trilogy. These would just be ports of the original games. Nothing really changed in terms of content, but of course, that is quite the pipe dream, right? Well, indirect evidence suggests that this actually might be happening. Crash on the Run recently dropped a brand new season, featuring the purple boy himself, Spyro. And of course, data miners got to work right away, ripping and finding everything that they could. And shockingly, not only did they find information about the current season, but future seasons as well. Now, these are all great, but there is one that I want to focus on, and that is Season 5. Season 5 is going to be the season for Crash's 25th anniversary in September, and we just so happen to know what some of those skins will be. It turns out that every single game that was mentioned in that leak will receive some form of representation as a skin in Season 5. Crunch Crash and Coco to represent Wrath of Cortex, Twinsanity Crash and Coco, and yes, even Crash of the Titans. But there are even more skins from these games, like Evil Crash and Coco from Twinsanity, Mind Over Crash and Coco to represent Mind Over Mutant, Tag Team Racing, and even Madame Amberly. The point is that it just so happens that the games that are mentioned in this leak pop up for Crash's 25th anniversary as skins in Crash on the Run. Wouldn't it just line up beautifully if those ports came out for Crash's 25th anniversary and it just so happened that Crash on the Run had those skins as well? Now, let's get to the next point. Announcement and release of free-to-play multiplayer. This one's not new. We've been hearing about a Wumpa League for months now. In fact, the first time that we heard about it was back in January. It's up in the air whether that we'll ever see it. I'm at a whatever point of view about it right now. See it, don't see it, we will see. But we know it at one point did exist. Unfortunately, there's evidence on both sides of the spectrum saying that it's canceled or it was picked up by a different team. Only time will tell. But the point is, there's nothing about what is said here that can be held onto. The last point is, again, something that we've been speculating about. Quote, Spyro 4 will be released later this year and will have skins and a Crash Bandicoot themed level. Now this one is weird, but it's not the first time that Crash had been featured in a game with a specific level. Remember Skylanders Imaginators? Yeah, they had an entire level dedicated to Crash and Cortex, the Thumpin' Wumpa Islands, an entire level dedicated to Crash Bandicoot. So this idea is not that outlandish, but there would have to be evidence of Spyro 4 in the first place, right? Well, there has been activity on the Spyro front, like the fact that 12 trademarks were just discovered discovered. I made a video talking about this. I'll throw a card in the top right corner if you are interested. And there's also been subtle and random activity over on the Steam client. Spyro being involved in Crash on the Run, and new merch flying out of everywhere. It's looking positive for Spyro, but we'll just have to see. All in all, it's a 4chan post, but it is interesting that so much about it seems to have stacking evidence for it. There's a lot of shenanigans going on over in the Crash Bandicoot sphere. It's weird and confusing, but stay tuned as we continue figuring out all of this leading up to Crash's 25th anniversary. Thank you so much to all those who not only support the channel, but myself and my family. Because of your contributions, I'm able to do this full time. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider clicking the join button or becoming a Patreon with the link in the description. I also live stream every Thursday and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come on by and say hi. Again, thank you to everyone, and I'll see you guys in the next video and or live stream.